I've just been always really motivated, truly by money. I mean, I wanted to make as much money as I possibly could make because I want to live a certain life. And not like my parents did an amazing job for us growing up, but like we were not spoiled. Let's put it that way. Like everything we ever had in life, we pretty much earned it on our own. I paid my way through college. Me and my brother started our own landscaping company. So every dollar that went to my college degree, I paid out of my pocket, just like my brother did. Every car I had, I bought. So things like that. It's like I understood at an early age if I wanted something, I had to earn the money to get it, and that's just how I've always grown up. Never had Jordans, never had like none of that stuff, So right there is where I kind of was like, all right, no matter what, when I graduate high school, I want to do these things. I want to travel the world. I want to drive a certain car. I want to live in a certain house, or I want to do these things. This is what I want for my life. So it started really early on. Like I knew this is what I wanted. I don't want to have to worry about, making the next month's mortgage payment or anything like that.
What if your very first cold calls weren't to sell software or mortgages, but to veteran high school football coaches? Today, Jimmy Boone joins us to share how his father's vision with 7-on-7 University taught him sales, grit, and discipline long before he entered business. We explore how he carried those lessons into a thriving mortgage career alongside his dad, before making the leap into tech as the very first hire at Retr. Along the way, you'll hear about the checklist that still shape his days, the realtor partnership that changed his trajectory, and what it takes to sell not just homes, but enterprise software. Stay tuned. You'll walk away with lessons on consistency, adaptability, and the power of aligning with visionaries. Jimmy, welcome to the One Away Show.
Brian, thanks for having me, my man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we go way back. How many years now? Like 15, 16?
I think 15, yeah, 15 years. It's pretty insane. It's crazy to say that, isn't it?
It's nuts. I didn't even know about you. I just knew about you as like the star quarterback at Oakton High School, and everyone at Chantilly was scared of you. So you did something right in high school.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jimmy, what is the one away moment that you want to share with us today?
Well, you kind of gave me a good segue, with the football mentioning that, but, my dad, really everything I've learned in business has been stemmed from him. So he started multiple companies, but one company in particular, it was called 7-on-7 University. It's an off season, 7 versus 7, 7 offensive guys, 7 defensive guys, football training. He started this, and I say it's my one way moment because it was the first experience that I've ever had in like the real business world of watching an entrepreneur, start everything from the ground level to where he's running big tournaments. And he gave me the opportunity to kind of insert myself and see where I could help. And I was doing everything from marketing to help, promote the tournaments, creating flyers, calling coaches, trying to essentially cold call coaches and then invite them to our tournaments. And I mean, the amount of value that added to my life was insane. I mean, I took so much away from that experience into everything I've done today and really just built on it. But it was invaluable.
Yeah. It's awesome that your dad's been such an influence and inspiration. I mean, I remember watching you guys in the same office, 5 or 6 years ago, and it was, you guys had you could see the bond, and you guys had that show that you did together. Yeah. And there was so much like camaraderie between father son. So one, that was special for me to see. But two, it's also cool to hear how, you're learning, you were able to learn from him at the early years of 7x7 and the business side of Pops. What give us like soup to nuts, like what was 7x7? How did it come to life? And what did it grow to? And I'd love to just hear more about your dad's journey and vision of creating this, and then how you got involved.
Totally. So just a background on the sport itself. It's obviously it's centered around football. So when you're in the off season, obviously you're not going to be hitting with full pads. No one could handle 24/7 all year round football. That people would just probably wither away if that was a real thing. So in the off season, when football season's not on, kids obviously wanted to stay active and still compete in some sense. So, when I started high school, there was really nothing out there for that to kind of happen. I mean, you could go to camps and train, and people had these, would throw somewhat of, competition tournaments team by team, but really nothing was out there. So my dad noticed that really early on, right when I got to Oakton. And he's like, man, this 7-on-7 thing is really awesome. I think if we could format this nationwide and, get a platform for, not like a travel team, but really high school teams, keeping them together, helping them learn the offense, being under the coach's umbrella and roof all summer long instead of out partying or doing whatever. So he created a platform for high school teams, and we're from Northern Virginia, so all around Northern Virginia at the time, to essentially compete against each other. In 7-on-7, what it is you have 7 offensive guys, 7 defensive guys. It's none of the big boys up front. So it's not the offensive lineman, it's not the defensive lineman. We're talking about the receivers versus the cornerbacks, running backs, linebackers, and stuff like that. So, it's all passing. You don't run. So it's just a nonstop passing. So as a QB, I loved it, obviously, because I'm just throwing the whole time. But my dad started that, and it really started getting legs when I graduated high school. And so, I never had a chance to play in his own tournament, unfortunately, but my younger brother did. And so really when it first took off is when, we had our first 16-team tournament at Westfield. And it was just so competitive. The energy was flowing. It was amazing to be at. And then really I started to get enamored with like, hey, how are you running this? Like, how is it? How are you structuring this? How do you get all these teams here? I just wanted to know about the inner workings of like the business side of it. And so I could just say, he kind of just threw me in the fire. He's like, look, just start doing whatever you think you can do to help and insert yourself where you think you could add value. I was doing, business marketing at Mason at the time. And I was like, yeah, I'm into marketing. I like doing that stuff. So that's kind of where I started and trying to do some video content of the football players, interviews. I did flyers and, just things like that kind of kicked me off. And then from there is where I started to really learn my sales acumen because, we had to convince coaches that have been coaching for 20, 30 years, very well established in Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, to try to get over to our tournament, and why should they come here versus some of the other things that they are doing as a team in the off season. And so that is where I first started learning the art of like cold calling and, asserting yourself, on the phone and just trying to sell anything, right? Just sell a journey, sell value or anything that you could do to try to get them to come. So as you can imagine, as a kid right out of high school, I was pretty nervous about it, to be honest with you, because I was like, hey, how are you? How's everything going? And my dad's like, look, first of all, you need to take a deep breath, relax. He's like, these are just people, just, you're going to have to work through some of the growing pains about it. But once I started doing that more and more and a lot of calls, that really was where I got my confidence of getting on the phone and talking to people and selling our stories. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's cool that you were able to start getting your business skills right around a sport that you loved.
Yeah.
And you got to learn from your dad. Sounds like a trifecta in and of itself. So true. I wasn't even thinking about that until you started saying all this. So I'm like, oh, what an epic experience.
That's a great point.
Participant, leader, father time.
Yeah.
When you think about I feel like you've always been very personable and thoughtful and connective, right? Fun. There's when you were starting 7x7 and you were kind of getting the weeds on the business side, yes, you might've been a perennial passer, but beyond the field, right? Yeah. What do you think were some of the business skills maybe that you learned first that you really applied to this day?
Yeah. I think it was, just understanding how to structure not only my day, but like what I want to achieve in that day. So I got really into, creating checklists. I mean, that was like my thing. I love physically checking off a box. I know nowadays there's a whole bunch of apps and people are on, their phones and doing it like clicking and to check things off. But I still, to this day, I create myself a checklist for the day. I have 3 different columns of how I want to attack the day. One of them is, business. Like I always have my business goals for that day. The other one is family. I have my family goals. Like I want to play with my children for at least an hour and a half, no phone, nothing. Like I want to just dive in and be the best dad I can be. And then personal, like I want to make sure I worked out today. I want to make sure I read some pages of a book today. I want to, do breath work. I mean, whatever it is, I always have my 3 categories down on my checklist. And then I pretty much just like grade myself. So I started doing that during 7-on-7 because there was so much going on. And I was like, the only way I'm going to ever achieve these things is if I have some way of tracking it. And so I was really into doing it on my notepad and it got me excited, like checking things off. So that is something I do to this day that I started doing out the gate with 7-on-7 and I love it. I love doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I'm looking at this like baby checklist and I kind of map out the same lines every day, maybe not as organized as you, but there is something very cathartic about like writing it out versus checking digitally. And it's like you're seeing yourself make progress in real time. So yeah, I agree with you. That's awesome. And I like the categories, health and personal biz and kind of making it all happen. Now, the question on that, like, do you create that checklist on a more like reactive basis, or is it more like thought out in the sense of, I know in 3 months or 6 months or a year, I want to be here and okay, here are the daily things I need to be like. How methodical is it towards like a bigger picture goal?
I mean, in that regard, I have two main different lists. Like at the towards the end of every year, me and my wife will sit down and say like, what is our goals together? Like what are your goals and what are my goals? And then we like write them out. And then what are our like overarching family goals? So like I will have that at the start of every year. And like, this is my goal for the year. And then every day I have my 3 category checklist, which really more are a reactive checklist, always changing, always adding things to it. I mean, I'll have my must do's, like play with my kids, work out, things like that. Like I always make sure that they're on my list every single day. So, those are going to be something that I do for the rest of my life, or try to at least. And then really, working towards a goal. I'm a big believer in not necessarily becoming so obsessed with, is what I'm doing right now getting me to where I want to go? Is this worth it? I'm a big believer of just staying consistent and just continually working, and I'll get to where I want to go just based off of that alone. Like that's how I've always believed in that. And it's proven to honestly work for me. So, I don't necessarily say, hey, I want to make sure that this task I have on my list today is aligned with hitting my goal of the year. So like I basically will just know that, hey, if I do these 10 calls today, I might get no answers. I might get nothing. But if I do it again tomorrow, I could land 2 sales. And then if I land 2 sales Tuesday and I do it again on Wednesday, and I carry that on the rest of the year, that I am going to hit my goal. And so I try not to get so caught up with lining it up with the year goal, because I know what my goal is, and as long as I make sure my daily tasks are aligning with that in some way, but more as like a step-by-step process, then I think I'll get there. And that's kind of how I've been living it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, consistency and discipline are some of the most difficult traits to find these days in this younger generation of us young 30-year-olds. Yeah. So I'm thrilled that you have found that. I mean, with 3 kids and achieving what you have professionally, I have to imagine you're pretty dialed in. But we'll give all the credit to your wife. She seems like the
Totally.
real winner here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, a lot to think there. Jimmy, where does the drive come from? Right? We haven't talked a ton about work, but I think from foot, like there's a consistency to the drive, right? Like you're not a slouch. You grind it out. You're a learner. Like where was this born? Was this like innate? Was it like, yeah, I saw my dad like just crush it, and like how did this come to be?
Yeah, that's a great question. I never really thought about, where it kind of all started, but I can just tell you, like, no matter what, whether it was me in sports, or, beating my brothers to get the water first or whatever, I've just always been really competitive. And so I try to compete with myself, honestly, more than anything else now. And I just drive to, be better than I was the day before, even if it's a little bit, like I just consistently try to be better. And through that, I feel like it's given me just automatic drive because I want to be better and I want to be the best version of myself. And I feel like I'm not there yet. And like that is something that I truly feel like I'll never be there, which is always like, hey, I want to figure out what that is. And then once I'm there, it's like, oh, okay, well, I can still do better, And so the drive for me is I know what I want out of life. I know the type of life I want to give my kids and the type of life I want to live myself. And that is what drives me, 24/7. So even in sports, like I wanted to be the starting quarterback for Oakton High School, and I wanted to, have accolades or win a certain amount of games. And that's like so I mean, to your point earlier, it's, I do have an idea of, what my overarching goals are. And then I know where I want to go in life. I know what I want to do, and I just kind of attack it that way. So, maybe it's innate, but yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is like it starts with vision of like what I want, and I apply that, I apply the tenacity and work ethic to that vision. Okay, so let's say on a deeper level, you said I know where I want to go in life. Like a lot of people don't have vision for their own life. A lot of people just coast. I take the job here, I'll apply. Like they don't give a lot of intentional thought. So like, what comes first, intentionality or vision? And how do you develop vision if you don't know where to start?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Again, I think for me, at least, I've just been always really motivated, truly by money. I mean, I wanted to make as much money as I possibly could make because I want to live a certain life, and not like my parents did an amazing job for us growing up, but like we were not spoiled. Let's put it that way. Like everything we ever had in life, we pretty much earned it on our own. I paid my way through college. Me and my brother started our own landscaping company. So every dollar that went to my college degree, I paid out of my pocket, just like my brother did. Every car I had, I bought. So things like that. It's like I understood at an early age if I wanted something, I had to earn the money to get it, and that's just how I've always grown up. Never had Jordans, never had like none of that stuff, So right there is where I kind of was like, all right, no matter what, when I graduate high school, I want to do these things. I want to travel the world. I want to drive a certain car. I want to live in a certain house, or I want to do these things. This is what I want for my life. So it started really early on. Like I knew this is what I wanted. I don't want to have to worry about, making the next month's mortgage payment or anything like that. Like I don't want that. And I also, if I'm going to bring kids in the world, I want to set them up. I'm not going to give them these things, right? Like I don't believe in spoiling kids, because I do believe that it does kind of hurt their work ethic. I mean, if they get something, they're going to earn it. They're going to work hard for it. I do feel that was major in my life, on realizing really early on, like, man, things are not given to you. You've got to earn it. You could be the nicest person in the world. You could be, so like good at your job, but that still doesn't mean anything. Like, unless you intentionally want to go out and earn that and get it, you got to fight for it. You got to claw for it. And you got to just put yourself in a position to really succeed. And the only way I can think about doing that is just grinding and just grinding it out, Because not that many, I mean, not that many people like truly are about the grind and about the journey. And like, that's really where it all comes from. You've got to grind to get where you want in life. And yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I love that sounds like you've had to pay your way through everything, and that's not easy. You clearly know that really well, and it's clearly been a motivator for you. And I have an okay life. Childhood was blessed in a lot of ways, and there's a way to do even better, and I'm going to relentlessly pursue better. And that's really cool to hear. So let's dive into career a little bit more, right? In terms of money matters.
Yeah.
Where did let's just start in the mortgage space, given, you talked about 7x7, but I know you've done some other stuff, landscaping, but how do you get your start in the mortgage space?
Kind of going back. So, I after I finished college, still me and my brother were owning our landscaping company, and I was kind of hit at a crossroads in life where, do we go all in and figure out how to scale this, and this is what we'll do, or do I maybe take a different route and try to make myself enough money to then either go back to doing the landscaping, or maybe I start my own company. Maybe I take a year off and kind of figure out where I want to be. The idea was that I didn't necessarily want to be, in the yard doing yard work anymore. I mean, that's where we were at. And so I also had an opportunity. I was doing personal training, and so I was a trainer for Jerry Berry, the legendary Jerry Berry. He obviously is the top producer over at First Heritage, and so I started training him to get him ready for his daughter's wedding. And he's like, "Here's my goal. I want to lose 20 pounds. Like, I need you to be on me, and I'll pay you to be my personal trainer. Can you meet me here every day at 5 a.m.?" And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I started training him for like 4 months, and he did hit his goal. He was grinding, by the way. Very impressive by you, Jerry. But afterwards, we just honestly hit it off. And obviously my dad was working there too at First Heritage. So I knew about the mortgage industry. He always talked to me about, how he's done thousands of loan applications, and he always had, he's always earned more money than every loan application he did. And so I was like, wow, like, yeah, clearly this guy's he's a hitter, right? He knows what he's doing. And I've always liked trying to surround myself with people that are doing really well, because I always feel like it'll eventually rub off on me in some fashion, So after training him for 4 months, after talking to my dad too, he's like, "Hey, I think you should try to be a loan officer. I'd love to have you on to join the company." And so I thought about it. And then, I was like, you know what, let's do it. Like, I'm all in. And so, the rest is history, man. I became a loan officer at First Heritage. We had some really, really good years there. I ended up, partnering up with my dad. We ran the Boone team. That was an amazing time in my life too, working side by side with my dad as partners. And I don't think I've ever had more fun too. Like, my dad's the funnest guy ever. So like, that was an amazing time for me. And then, so everything I did at First Heritage was awesome. I mean, it really shaped who I am today, and I learned so much from everybody over there, and it was just a great experience. And I took that with me to where I am now, all the things I've learned. And I'm very grateful for my time in the mortgage industry, because now I'm selling mortgage tech, and it's right up my alley, and it's fun to be in the space.
You and I are entering in similar spaces indirectly, but directly. But what we're gonna get to Jimmy Boone Retr Enterprises in a second. Shout out to Retr. So it's funny. I just interviewed Ryan Hadley, who married Jerry's daughter, and Ryan called Jerry an icon.
Yeah.
And I said, "Tell me why." So we can keep giving Jerry some love here. Like, what besides Jerry's early wake up schedule, what makes Jerry such an icon? Because that's what Ryan says. He's an icon. Like, in your eyes, like, what makes him an icon?
Really just I think his personality. I mean, he's got an infectious personality. I've never seen that guy in a bad mood. I mean, he wakes up every day, truly is in a good mood, or at least he's amazing at faking it. Let's put it that way. And that rubs off on you. So anytime I ever heard him on the phones, anytime I ever interacted with him, anytime I attended any meetings with him, he commands the room because of who he is. And it's just really comes down to his personality for me. You know, he's a very enjoyable person, very outgoing. He's a funny guy, and people just like being around him. And I think that alone breeds for success if you know how to like rope it in and steer it in the right ways. And he's a pro at it, man. He really is one of the best in the business at it. So
Yeah. It's funny. Ryan was saying something about like his ability on the phone.
yeah,
And he's like, yeah, like he says he gets on the phone calls and he's like, because the home buying process is a vulnerable experience. And he's like, Ryan's like, he gets on the phone. He's like, I heard you're trying to, apply for some vicious loan. And like applying home buying with like a vicious like thing that you're like, it's like, yeah, it disarms people. And I was like, that's so funny. And I think you and Ryan are saying very similar things, but it's cool. Like you were able to kind of witness that firsthand. That good mood, it's funny. I agree with that. Not just in Jerry, but I think the more successful people I meet, they do a really good job at like staying calm and like showing a good mood. I know that can be really challenging, but whatever mental health pills Jerry's taking, we should all subscribe to. If you're a founder looking to grow without raising capital or giving up control, Relent is built for you. Founded by entrepreneurs who've scaled without outside funding, Relent helps companies find and retain talent, lower operational costs, and reinvest in growth. We've hired nearly 10 team members through Relent and streamlined our entire cost structure, freeing up capital to put toward what matters most. Even small teams can set up offshore operations quickly, compliantly, and without heavy infrastructure. With deep expertise in the India-US corridor, Relent combines cultural fluency with operational rigor and guides everything from team design to long-term scaling. Grow on your terms and start with Relent. To learn more, visit relent.team/arcbound. When you were in the mortgage space, before you got in your mortgage tech, sales leader right now, which honestly sounds pretty epic compared to the grind of just an everyday mortgage banker. But when you were what did the mortgage, specifically, what did you have to learn as a mortgage banker, right? In terms of skills, what did mortgage banking maybe teach you in a new way about sales, loan products? What are things that you had to learn that you weren't expecting to learn in the mortgage space?
That's a really good question. I think it's kind of a two-part answer because when you're a loan officer, you essentially have two audiences that you have to cater to. The most important is obviously your clients, right? You want to make sure that the customer you're dealing with is having an amazing experience and you make the home buying process as smooth and seamless as possible. But then there's the other side of it, which I really don't think a lot of people understand, especially when you are an independent mortgage banker or a broker, right? Like you don't work at PNC Bank and do loans. You're not work at Navy Federal Credit Union and do loans. We're talking about true hunter-gatherers. So the other side of being a loan officer is creating your own business and brand, which I know you have a lot of background in, and then, marketing yourself and trying to earn, referral partners. And referral partners in the mortgage industry are, anywhere from realtors, financial planners, title agents. I mean, you name it. But it really all comes down to the way you hustle, the way you make connections, and kind of go out and you have to earn those relationships because ultimately they are all also dealing directly with the client, with folks that are trying to purchase a home. And the idea is that you want them to trust you enough for them to send you their client, like their person that they're showing homes to, their buddy that they've known since high school is buying a property or refinancing. Call my guy Jimmy. So I would say, just trying to navigate both those personalities and is invaluable for the mortgage industry. So like, what it's taught me, and that I still hold today, is kind of how to be a chameleon when dealing with, clientele or like a different buying personality. Because when you're helping people do loans, I mean, you meet a ton of different types of people. And like you said earlier, it's in one of the most vulnerable times in their lives. Like, I mean, you are helping them make the biggest purchase of their life, which is really 9 times out of 10 the case, right? Unless they're buying a bigger house or something later down the line. But mostly everybody, this is the biggest purchase they're ever going to make, and it is a vulnerable time. I mean, they have to provide their bank statements, their tax returns, pay stubs. They have to answer to why they have certain debts or what can I qualify for. I mean, it's a lot to navigate, but the idea is that whoever you're talking to, one of my strengths and kind of one of my superpowers, I feel like, is immediately understanding who that person is and how they want to be not treated. Obviously, everyone wants to be treated in the right way, but more of like, how can I cater this experience to this person that they'll walk away with it feeling like, wow, that was an amazing transaction that I did with Jimmy Boone. Like, I would love to buy a house with him. And so that is one thing I learned that I took with me forever, is just being a chameleon and adapting to every person you talk to. And then the sales side of it, which is, going after your referral partners, your agents, title companies, the reps, everything like that. That is what taught me to, don't be afraid to pick up the phone and make a connection. Don't be afraid to walk up to somebody at a bar and ask them if they're a realtor, or at a soccer game, or I mean, wherever you are. Like, that right there is something, again, like, I don't think people realize that loan officers are essentially running their own businesses too, and they have to make these connections in order to earn a living. And so, yeah, I mean, being able to be a chameleon for your clients, but also have that sales hat on how you can make relationships, and go out and earn that. So.
Super cool, dude. I mean, you said you had to learn being a chameleon in the mortgage space, but I'd argue you learned being a chameleon, being a quarterback at Oakton with all the defensive coverages that were thrown at you, and you had to shake them off. So,
Yeah.
You were just applying your skills in a new way. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's fair to say. I mean, I honestly, I think that is like a superpower of mine.
So your chameleon skills. Totally. Your chameleon skills were elevated, right?
Yeah.
So I like it. Yeah, I think, I mean, to your point, right? It is a very vulnerable time for these people. Your ability to make them feel safe, and, you're selling trust, you're selling your reputation, and, you probably more than most had the communication skills built in, but sounds like you had to finesse and harness them to keep up with the volume of what it took to do what you were able to accomplish. So congrats. Question for you. You were in the mortgage space how long?
6 years. I'm still licensed though. I never want to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've recently transitioned, right? I'd say, not to say it's the cooler side, but I mean, you're doing enterprise sales with a technology company that's really taking on the market. Like, how did you discover this company, Retr? And then what made you say, you know what, this seems like a really natural progression to something that I can really, be benefited by in my career?
Mm-hmm, totally. So, really cool story here. Kind of tying it all in, right? Like, making relationships is vital, and always trying to, be the best that you can at something, and you never know where it's going to lead you. So the founder of Retr happened to be one of my top realtors. So he was one of my top realtors that was referring me business. We worked together for several years, and he was crushing it. He was one of my best guys that sent me a lot of business throughout the years. And one day he just literally called me, and whoever's a loan officer can appreciate this because it's a funny story here. One day out of the blue, just literally calls me and goes, "Hey, Jimmy, just want to let you know I'm quitting real estate. Like, today's my last day. I'm done." And I'm like, whoa, for someone that's sending me a ballpark of 5 million to 10 million a year for like at least 4 years straight, you can imagine. I mean, that's a nice sizable chunk of change that is now leaving your pocket. So I
Yeah,
was like,
that was my first thought.
yeah. So I was like really worried at first. I was like, man, like what's going on? Is everything okay? Like, do I need to come over? You know? And then he's like, hey, meet me at Starbucks tomorrow at 10 a.m. I want to talk to you about something. I was like, okay, 100%. So I met him at Starbucks, and he pitched me Retr. And so at the time, I was like, yeah, man, this is awesome. I really didn't know that he had a true background in engineering. I mean, that's who he is. He's an engineer first, stumbled into the real estate industry just because of, he's naturally good at, of talking to people, making those connections as well. And on top of that, all of his friends were buying homes. And then he also wanted to create his own real estate portfolio. So he just stepped into getting his license and then ended up becoming a top producer. It just, kind of happened that way. But he's always been an engineer. So when he told me he was trying to build this mortgage and real estate data platform, there were some things that were out there that I was familiar with. So I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. But I wanted to let him know, like, this is not like an original idea in the sense that like, hey, there is things out there. Just want to let you know, like, here's two other names that I've heard of. I mean, I don't use them. I've tried them. They're okay, And he's like, yeah, I know about them, and I'm telling you, I have a vision, and I can make what they're doing better. And there's a lot of different things that I want to add to it. So over the next 6 months, he basically just picked my brain. He's like, man, what would you like to have in an app? What would you like as a loan officer? Would this be cool? Would you like this feature? And so we would meet all the time on Zoom and just exchange ideas, and he'd throw things at me to see if I'd like it. And it kind of evolved from there. I mean, so he did that for a little while. And then as he was getting ready to go to market, I was like, hey man, like, I could tell you're crushing it. Like, he 100% funded everything, bootstrapped, 100% of all everything. He 100% bootstrapped it. And so I was like, look, if whenever you're ready to go to market, like, this is really cool. Like, I've always loved the idea of being a part of a startup. And like, again, like, with my dad being an entrepreneur early on with the 7-on-7 stuff, and, kind of seeing how that operated, I always loved the idea of being a part of something big and joining the team early on. And so, when I was like, hey, well, whenever you're ready to go to market with this, like, please let me know. I would love a chance to sell it. Like, I think I'd crush it for you. And so, lo and behold, when he finished developing it, he did a couple, like 6 months on his own, just trying to get it out there. They went to some conventions and, got their name across. And then one day it just hit. They got their name in with, UWM, which is the largest lender in the country. And after that, I mean, he was he was flying, man. And then he's like, Jimmy, it's time. Like, I need you to come in. I want you to join the team. It's time. And so I joined in July of last year, and it's been going incredible since, man. We're growing like crazy, and it's been a lot of fun being on this side of the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's his full name?
Steven Winans.
Steven Winans. How old is he?
He is, I think, 42.
Oh, good for him. What, I guess here's a question, right? He's an engineer. I've noticed a pattern about engineers and businesses, especially being in San Francisco. There's just like something about sharp technical talent on the founding team that is invaluable because it structures everything in such a nice way for us creative salespeople. Like, I joke, I want to marry an engineer. The three best people I've put in my life in the last year and a half are all engineers. So like, anyways, I've like love engineers. Anyways, so Steven, Winan, we'll get there. But what, like, for someone to like that, to send you $10 million a year in business, like, what did he see in you to like, he's probably doing more. He probably was sending to other LOs too, but like, that is a lot for a realtor to send to one person. So like, why do you think he didn't diversify and he trusted you so much to keep sending you the business?
Yeah, we actually talked about this, funny enough. So at First Heritage, we did have a relationship with a real estate company. I don't know if it's still established, but Samson Properties. and he was a Samson agent. So as you can imagine, First Heritage loan officers are always trying to connect with those agents because why not, right? I mean, they're easily made connections. Why not try to go out there and meet people that are essentially meant to work with you? The hard part about that also is that how can you differentiate yourself between everybody there? And why should you work with me versus him? Like, you guys are at the same company, you offer the same rates, you offer the same products. Why should I work with John Smith instead of Jimmy Boone, right? Or why should I work with Jimmy Boone? And so when I first met him, and as you know, an engineer brain, I mean, he sets a task, goes after it, completes it, and just, moves on. He's very linear in the way he attacks things. And so, he actually just decided to go to First Heritage, stepped in the office and just walked the halls. He was like, I want to look for someone that, I just want to see who's grinding. I mean, this is what he told me. He's like, I want to see who's grinding and I want to see who will essentially meet with me today. And so he tried to connect with a couple other people, and I guess they were too busy for him at the time. And then he walked by my office and he's like, hey, do you have like 5 minutes? I didn't even know who he was. I had no clue who he was. I didn't even know he was a realtor. I was like, yeah, of course, man. And so right off the bat, I invited him in. We started talking, and then he mentioned that he's a realtor. He's looking for a go-to loan officer, and we just hit it off. So, I mean, I think it was very, I mean, I don't know if I want to say lucky, because I don't necessarily believe in luck. I think luck happens to those who grind and work hard, truly. I think it's just, a natural thing that happens with those that really go after it and work hard. But he just stumbled in my office. He's like, hey, you're the only one that, greeted me and invited me in. No one knows who I am. He's like, look, I have a client for you today. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is literally like a gift from God. I'm like, this is insane. And so he's like, here's your test, man. Like, this is your test. If you nail this client, like you're my guy. And so immediately I'm all over this. I'm like, this is amazing. So I crushed it with this client. Anything that guy needed, anytime, I'm answering the phone at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. on a Saturday, Friday night. I'm getting him loan scenarios, conditional approval letters, within minutes. I mean, he was my guy. I dedicated everything to make sure he was happy. And it just grew from there. 1 became 2, 2 became 3, and so on and so forth. So it wasn't just purchases he was sending me to. I mean, he, during the refi boom, he was going out of his way to send folks that he knew needed a refinance to me also. So it's like, I mean, he just loved the way that I handled his clients. He loved the way that I was all over it. I responded very, very fast. And anyone who ever has been in the mortgage industry, speed is everything. So if you're not quick to get things out or respond to emails or answer your phone, you're not going to do well. And so that is something that I learned immediately, and something that I was like, okay, if you ask me for something, I'm getting it immediately back to you. And so, we just hit it off, man.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool that you were able to see like how he worked, and he was able to see how you worked. It was like you almost dated for 4 years before you got married.
That's exactly it.
Right. And like what trust that he could be like, yeah, come on and scale my software business with me. And let's make a whole lot more money doing it, It's super interesting. It seems thorough, and he liked your tenacity and speed. And I agree with you. Like, speed is everything. And, this world of trust-based sales and, making people feel appreciated and welcomed and nurtured, all the things you got to do. So, the chameleon quarterback skills at its finest come to life.
Yeah.
Now you've evolved. You've evolved from mortgage banking sales to home buyers to selling to mortgage companies with a software platform. What's the biggest difference for you selling a software and enterprise technology versus an individual, let's say B2C sale? You're selling B2B. You've evolved from B2C, bigger deals, more complexity. What's it required out of you to step into this new role and crush it?
Totally. So I think the biggest difference is kind of having that 5,000 foot view, and obviously with me having mortgage experience, it does give me the upper hand. I mean, I know how to talk their language. I'm not just some rep trying to sell them something that I don't believe in. So, I mean, that is something that it really does give me the advantage when I'm talking about selling the mortgage tech and why should I use this platform over another platform. But really, when you're talking about an individual contributor, like a regular loan officer who's originating loans and that's their sole business, the conversation is different when you're talking to a CEO, or president of sales or whoever you're talking to that is in charge of making the decision for the company. Because they not only want to know that this tool is going to give their loan officers a return on investment. Like at the end of the day, if I buy this, is it really going to be worth it, right? And then they want to know, like, what can I use this tool for that'll help me maybe manage my loan officers, or will help me, take us to a direction that we want to go. And so when I'm having these conversations, I immediately am asking questions of like, what are your goals as a team? Like, how would you envision using a platform like this? And so it's more of me with discovery, with enterprise sales than it is, with like a consumer. With a consumer, I'm more of like, hey, here's all the amazing things that we have in the features. Like, take a look, you'll crush it. Versus like, what would you need and what are you looking for in a data platform? And I will show you what we have that will benefit you. And so I don't know an articulate way to say that really, but I mean, basically I'm more catering to their 5,000 foot view, and how can I help their business? And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but it sounds like Steven's, when he was interviewing Steven, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. When he was interviewing you and saying, what product features do you want? Like, he was kind of interviewing you from a similar, like probably intellectual, like 5,000 foot view. And then when he needed to get to 500 feet, he dove in. And I have to imagine like that style, only because I mean, I'm in that right now in a lot of ways. Like I can see exactly what you're talking about. Probably works for you with these companies that you're selling to. I mean, he was selling to you in a way, how the product how to shape it. You probably have to ask similar questions because, you might have to create out of the box solutions for CRM integrations, et cetera, but here's the core technology. And so you got to really uncover all those gaps. It sounds like, and you were trained by someone quite well to do it.
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, you nailed it. I think that is exactly what you have to do, because sure, they do want to see that 5,000 foot view, but sometimes they do want to get down into their individual LO. It's like, okay, well, how would that help my guy do more loans? So kind of being able to do both, I would say. But yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right. So you have vision. You have intentionality. You got a third baby on the way. Shout out to your wife. I mean, true winner here.
True winner.
What's the vision for you the next 5 years? Like where's Retr? And like, Steven's giving you 10 raises and a lot of equity in the company by then. Shout out Steven.
Yeah,
I know it's a tough decision. But like what have you accomplished at Retr in terms of your hopes and dreams, and what's that enabled you and your family to be able to do that you couldn't do today?
Yeah, totally, man. So I was the first hire at Retr. I was their very first hire, and since then I've sold over $1 million in software. I mean, I've only been here for a year, and we're growing exponentially, and I really do think the sky's the limit here. So whether it's us riding this off into the sunset and, some major company acquires us, or we just, try to take over everybody and I build an entire career out of this. It's really to be seen. And I think where we're headed right now, the trajectory of where everything's going, we could take both routes, and it's really exciting to be a part of something like that and to kind of be on the ground level of not only being the first member on the team, but shaping the company and, leaving my footprint here with features I've come up with, or, routes to take, strategic plays. It's just a really cool thing. And so whether it's us selling and right off in the sunset, or this is a career for me, I think the experience I'm gaining right now is insanely valuable for me going forward. And I am very intrigued of the startup life. I think it's an awesome community of people that are just go-getters, grinders, and I like aligning myself with people like that, because I also feel like I've had that entrepreneurial mind too. So I just really enjoy it, and we'll see where it goes, man.
Yeah, totally, man. Well, I appreciate you kind of giving us a taste of what the future might look like. And it seems like you're in a great seat right now. And like you said, there's no other competitors really on the market that I think have the sophistication and slickness of the platform. I mean, it's a clean platform. I've seen a little bit of it behind the scenes, and I got to give it the engineering prowess. It's nice when you have a good product to sell,
totally.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
300,000 other people aren't selling. So it's pretty cool. Even though there isn't a lot of, I'd say, competition, I mean, there's a couple others similarly, but let's just say because there's not, what like clever things, like, and when I say there isn't a lot of competition, so your life's easy, I'm not saying that your life's easy, but like, it's probably nice, but the playbook isn't proven. It's like, in a sense, right? So like, what has it required out of you to learn, right? That you can't just walk in, here's a playbook, here's a preset industry, like you're kind of category defining in some ways for the mortgage industry. So like, what's that required you to learn as a sales leader, about how to go to market?
Yeah, that's a really good point, and something that we talked a lot about early on, because there is other competitors out here. We do feel like we are kind of taking our own avenue with this platform and all the things that we are strategically building on top of it. And, being able to, how can I position that to where folks will not only see the trust, but the value right off the bat with what we're providing. And I think it just comes down to just being personable. I mean, honestly, I've had so many conversations, and at the end of the day, I'm a huge believer of people buy from who they like, and like just being personable on a call, connecting with folks, seeing what matters to them, asking the right questions, and then just letting them know, like, hey, the foundations of what we're built on, are exactly with what it sounds like you're aligning with. And I just feel like, we might have something big here. And here's another thing that's also a big sell for us, is that with us being 100% bootstrapped, no private equity yet, we are so fast and nimble to get things done, that if we, whoever we bring on as a client, if they want a feature built, or if they think we don't have something, we build it. And they love being a part of that journey too, because now they're leaving a footprint on this software. And I think that is something that none of our competitors can say. And really what sets us apart, because we don't have a board to answer to on why we should build this feature or why we should get this done. Not saying that might not happen in the next 5 years. We'll see where it goes. But as of right now, that's the reason that we have such an upper hand, other than, of course, some of the features that we're building. But that alone, just being able to have a direct line to our CEO and say, hey, who also happens to be one of our head engineers, hey, here's why, this major mortgage company wants this feature. How long would it take to build it? Oh yeah, that's going to take 3 weeks. Okay, done. I'm going to sell the deal. We're going to sign it in 3 weeks, and I'm going to show you. And I'm not just talking smoke here. I'm going to show you. We'll have it built, and then next time we meet, let's get the contract signed. So just being able to produce results is huge in being able to land some of these bigger accounts and just show that trust.
Yeah. Pretty epic, man. What a great learning experience. Sounds like you're working with a winning team in a winning market, doing winning things.
Thank you.
So, Jimmy, I'm stoked for you. Where can people find you, reach out, buy from you, sell 2 million in sales next year? You better be on it.
Love that. Yeah. Hit me on LinkedIn, Jimmy Boone, hit my email, jimmy@retr.app. Retr is better. That's our slogan. So if you guys are looking for a mortgage and real estate data platform to help elevate your sales or recruit for your team, look no further. We have it all, and we're building more and more. So
cool. From off-season football fields to the mortgage trenches and now the fast track of mortgage tech, today's conversation with Jimmy Boone was a story of drive, vision, and adaptability. We heard how cold calling coaches at 17 built his sales confidence, how Jerry Berry and his father shaped his path in mortgages, and how a trusted realtor became the CEO who recruited him into a startup. Jimmy reminded us that speed, responsiveness, and persistence aren't just sales tactics, they are values that build trust, loyalty, and opportunity. As Retr grows, so does his vision of what's possible for his family and career. If today's journey inspired you, share this episode with a friend and leave a review. It helps more listeners discover stories like Jimmy's. New episodes drop every Tuesday and Friday.